To you I pray, bow down, prostrate. You are the only one worthy of praise. I stand before you with an attentive heart. Erase my sins from the present and past. To you I pray, bow down, prostrate. You are the only one worthy of praise. I stand before you with an attentive heart. Erase my sins from the present and past.
Where are you, man? 5 minutes? You said 5 minutes ago. 5 minutes? Come on, man. I'm waiting for you. Been waiting for a while now.
All of my affairs to you. I depend on you for your blessings too. Both with hope and fear. Can't keep a promise, betray the trust you take.
Yaki, where are you, man? Come on. 5 minutes? You said that an hour and 37 minutes ago. Only 5 minutes. Yaki, come on, man. You said you're gonna meet me. Why are you breaking your promise? Are you coming or not? SubhanAllah. How many times people break their promises? How many times we say something, we say, Inshallah, I'll see you there, Inshallah, 5 minutes. And SubhanAllah, it's a big disease in the Ummah, a big disease in the Muslims today, you know. We say, we give our word. We use even Allah's name. We say, Wallah, Wallah, Inshallah. And then we break it. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, this, we don't care about time. We don't care about being punctual. We say that we're going to do this, we're not going to do it. We just, our character, and it's not reflecting the sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We used to make sure that, when he gives a promise, he keeps it. And subhanAllah, these are some of the traits of the munafiqeen, of the hypocrites, that when they speak, they lie. When they promise, they break their promise. And when they're entrusted with something, they break that trust. SubhanAllah, this is a sign of the weakness of faith, a sign of this diseased heart, SubhanAllah, that is really causing our ummah to go down. It's breaking the ukhuwah between us, breaking the trust that we have amongst ourselves. Of course, if you always lie and break your trust, people will not trust you anymore. And we need to keep our promises.
Be mindful of the diseases of the heart.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alhamdulillah, one of the main sicknesses and lacking is that you find in today's time that you no more get to trust a person. That trust, and that when a person promises you that he'll be here at a certain time, it's almost like it's no more in today's time, or if you trust someone, it's almost as if you can't even do business with a person. You need to look for the certain person who you can do business with, whether that person is in Islamic robes or not. It's basically you're doubting. You're not sure who to do business with, who not to do. It's basically a whole world of deceit. And basically you're finding people that when they start arguing, he just starts getting angry. Or when you start an argument, he just goes on to rebelling, and so basically this is one of the you find it's generally happening everywhere, where trust is just no more.
We find that definitely this is one of the symptoms of weakness of iman, of lack of of iman, of faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's nice that you mentioned that, because there's some people that came up with the term, that you said that people, they'll tell you, we'll meet you at this time, and then they come like 2 hours later or an hour and a half later, and it's like normal. They know, no remorse, no nothing. It's like, it's Muslim Standard Time, It's like, it means an hour and a half later or 2 hours later. SubhanAllah, this is very bad, because the Prophet ﷺ was so punctual. Whenever he had an appointment, whenever he had something, right, he was there, SubhanAllah. And we find today that people, I think it's not understanding, that you're breaking a promise, you're taking a promise, and as a Muslim, when you give your word, this is something you should keep, you should not break, right? Because you end up in, following or being from, having some of the traits of the munafiqeen, as we know the hadith.
When the hadith,
يعني آية المنافق ثالث. يعني there's three symptoms or
symptoms
signs.
of yes.
إذا كذب إذا حدث كذب. يعني if he says something he lies. سبحان الله. إذا وعد أخلف. يعني if he promises he breaks it. وإذا اؤتمن خان. If he is entrusted with something he breaks that trust.
Can you believe that this
إذا
حدث كذب, you know, it's subhanallah, this is something which we need to really reflect, because kadhiba, you know, it's not only basically on lies,
lying on something, yeah.
It's also on jokes, you know, in making jokes which are over exaggerated, which are just to make someone laugh, you know, or just to make someone happy, you know. So subhanallah, it's and this is a hadith which needs to be taken into serious perspective, that this is what Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has mentioned, and it's of importance.
Even if you're saying to someone, you know what, I'm going to come, or I'll see you, or I'll do this, and you don't do it, you're lying. And you lied. If you're going to say, you know, don't worry, I promise you, I'll be there. You know, this is the second one, okay?
People ever notice
you
that
break your promise.
They ever notice when someone asks, where are you now? You say, I'm just around the corner.
And you're not. You're in your house, you know. You're not even dressed yet. And, 5 minutes. I'll be there. I'm getting on my way.
We all suffer from this disease. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to subhanallah. This is a sickness that, subhanallah, I ask Allah really sincerely to forgive us, man.
Yes.
This is a sickness because, and it's on the mouth.
Yeah.
You know, like your friend would be, where are you now, akhi?
Yeah.
No, I'm just around the corner.
I'm around the corner.
And you didn't even get
I'm downstairs. I'm downstairs. Just parking my car. Yeah. And you're like, you know, subhanallah. And the third one, yani, if you're entrusted with something, yeah, someone gives you something, and you break that trust, you know. So, yani, do we want to have these traits of the munafiqeen?
And you know, it's so important. The trust it's that unity, because you know, trust in relationships. You find most of divorce cases in today's time. You find all over the world major divorce cases in the Muslim world, out of the Muslim world. You know, divorce after divorce. One of the biggest effects in the divorce, the reasons for divorce, is lack of trust.
Lack of trust, yes,
understand? Lack between the spouses, you know, and that just if there's no trust, basically there's no marriage, you know. So this is, the Nabi also mentioned this as general. In anything, if someone gives you an amana, to keep it with trust. If you have taken someone into your amana, to keep her with trust. You understand? And it's always when you display that trust, and you have that, the qualities of trust, it falls onto that person, you know. It's something which you need to build in yourself, so that it can have an effect on other people.
Have spilled over onto the escalated into violent clashes between police and protesters over the government's plan to avoid default. And we're also hearing of injuries on both. Journalist Charlie McGrath says the cuts will heap further suffering on ordinary people.
For decades, but the fence needs some
This is a serious and big storm.
Join me as I explore pressing issues facing the Muslim world today. From the one-sided civil war in Syria to the genocide in Burma, from the Arab Spring to the elections in the US, and yes, even the Euro debt crisis in Greece. Honest reporting on a channel you can trust, and I won't leave an issue untouched. Don't miss the Ummah Tonight with me, Malik, on your favorite channel for the TV.
Can't keep a promise, betray the trust you take when you speak your light. A hypocrite, as the prophet described. To some you show a face, and to others you show another face. Dying as a hypocrite's a disgrace.
Subhanallah, we look at the story of Imam Bukhari. May Allah be pleased with him.
Amen.
It was his concept of you know, of علم الرجال يعني, of the people يعني, who were you know, narrating the hadith يعني, he was so strict يعني, on who they are and how, you know, what was their character.
The scholars of hadith is a whole
you know,
big
whole
chapter
thing.
of trust, so
And
important.
I know we don't have too much time to talk, but subhanAllah, one thing that he went for such a long time. He's traveled for, you know, they used to travel for months something in search of one hadith. And after all this travel, he reached a person who was, you know, calling his horse and holding something, okay, like there's food, and he was calling his horse, right? And then he saw that he was actually lying to the horse. You know, he was faking it, right? And he, Imam Bukhari, may Allah turned away. And he said, if he lies to this horse, what's going to stop him from lying to Imam Bukhari?
Subhanallah.
Subhanallah.
And look at them, this is why their works are till today. That
Subhanallah.
we're still reading it, and there's still all over the world, tongues are buzzing with the books that he has compiled.
And the other thing that we can take from Stani, that he did not want, and imagine they cared even about yani, their reputation, okay, to be called truthful, yani. Because in another instance, you know, in another search of an hadith, yani, a person, subhanallah, he saw that he had some money with him, and they were on a ship, yani. And
I think so. That's also Imam Bukhari,
Yes,
because it's
the same
a famous.
Imam Bukhari, yeah.
But some people
and he used to
mention
say
that
that, hey, you know, I lost my money and this and that, and you know, and the
Because-
people were looking for it, and because he wanted to get the money from Imam Bukhari. What do you? He threw the money, subhanallah. And the man said, what are you doing, man? Why did you throw the money? He said, I don't want the people to say that Imam Bukhari and to be accused, yani, even though it's his money.
You ask yourself, what would you have done? I'm sure you would have maybe cut a piece of your skin and trying
to hide it somewhere.
Because you understand.
And
But
it was not any money; it was a lot of
subhanallah.
money, you know. But he cared about, yani, of course, not from the point of view that, oh, what people think about me. Is that he had a job to be done, and if his character was in question, imagine if the character Imam Bukhari was in question. Yani, what
And you know
about the hadith? that report?
what hurts you about this is that the hadith, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam didn't just mention
Sallallahu
that a Muslim should not lie, he should not break trust, he should not he should not
Trust it.
break someone's trust, or etc. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said the signs of a hypocrite.
Hypocrites, subhanallah. We ask Allah protection of
You
that.
ask Allah, I don't want, you don't want to be called a hypocrite, you know, because imagine if you are always a person who, throughout your day, whatever you say doesn't have the truth in it, or most of the time during the day, you know, like for example, you're always joking, you're telling a person you're coming at this time, you come at that other time, you're not on time, you're always lying about your whereabouts, or someone trusts you, you're always breaking their trust, and that, subhanallah, like, where are you? You know?
And a beautiful point, yani, that I think now the Ummah at large is suffering. This is very interesting. The place where I live, yani, there's Muslims, you know, the majority are Muslims, but there's a lot of non-Muslims as well, right? Now, using the statement, of course, which is has a very beautiful connotation, inshallah, right? The non-Muslims have realized now, and they, subhanAllah, they use it when they want to say that, you know, this is not going to happen. Why? Because the Muslims have misused it so much that they said, inshallah. Oh, are you going to meet me? Inshallah. Are we going to do this? Inshallah, someone will come and do this. Or inshallah, this will happen. Inshallah, that will happen. And it doesn't happen. And basically, subhanAllah, the Muslims have misused the name of Allah and have used it to say, like, you know what? Basically, it translates into, I'm not going to do it. You know? And the non-Muslims have taken it now, and subhanAllah, I've had a lot of actually debates and trying to explain to my colleagues at work who are not Muslims, to teach them what is the background of inshallah.
It's said.
And what is this, you know, subhanAllah.
And you just remind me, our teacher used to say, when we were in the boarding school, he would say, if I want to find out if you're lying, I'll just see if there was a wallahi in your sentence.
Yeah, this is another thing, wallah. What, you know, I catch, subhanAllah, some people cheating, stealing, and they say, wallah, wallah, I didn't do it. Wallah. And I'm like, but I just saw you, I just have your thing. No, wallah, wallah, I didn't. Wallah, wallah, this. Like, how do you use the name of Allah so lightly in breaking your promise, in breaking your word, in lying, subhanAllah? Right?
You know, basically, what do you see as a treatment for these evil diseases?
Subhanallah, you know, the people need to understand what are the consequences of lying. Okay, in this dunya and the akhirah, right? In this dunya, if you lie a lot, and there's a beautiful folklore story that I'm sure, it's like story time. I'm sure it transcends, my culture in Romania, but it's the story about, the woodcutter and the boy who used to scream, the wolf is coming, right? I'm sure you guys have it, right? Right?
No wonder you said it's story time.
So he used to say, he used to just lie, he used to scream, the wolf is coming. And then the woodcutters would run right to help.
With all the axes
right,
and the
ready to,
picks and
yeah. And then the second time, third time, fourth. And you know what? When the wolf really came, and the woodcutters didn't go anywhere because this guy's lying. Right? So you'll lose your image of who that you're not a trustworthy person anymore. People will say, we're not gonna. You will lose in this dunya, and not just that. On top of that, you will lose in the akhirah because Allah Subhanahu wa Taala says, فَوَيْلُ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. And SubhanAllah is warning them. The mukaththibin, it's it's not like kadhab. Is someone who always lies. It's like a constant lie.
And the effect is that you will tell yourself that I don't lie, but it's almost that because you are not taking heed of every word that you say is in fact not the truth, because you don't take account. You just it's not taking account of what you are saying. When you say that I'll be there at this time, being there on that time. If you are going to be late, phoning that person and telling him I won't be at that time. And like I said, we all need to instill this and implement this here in our life.
And one of the most important things, we need to take back the real meaning of inshallah.
And also because in the olden times, in the time of the Salaf, and that if a scholar had to say, wallahi, that was like an emphasis on what he's saying. It's true. Like if he said that, it was like, oh,
inshallah.
You understand?
And inshallah was like, from the aqidah, coming from the tawakkul of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know what? You know that you've done your best, but in the end, it's Allah's will, if this is going to happen. And there's a beautiful joke, subhanAllah, in the story actually, that one of the scholars about inshallah, because this is really, it's hurting me a lot, and I'm experiencing this day in and day out, and I'm trying to kind of break this, thing to explain to people what does inshallah mean. But a beautiful story about this, just to conclude, that one of the scholars met a brother who was going towards the market, with a goat, right? And he said, "Where are you going?" Okay. He said, "I'm going to the market to sell the goat." He said, "Say inshallah." He said, "Why? There's a market. I have a goat. People want to buy a goat. I will sell it." So he goes in the market and he starts going around, looking around. Then he looks and he just had the string in his hand, no more goat. So then he walks back and he meets the same scholar on the path. And the scholar says, "Well, did you sell your goat?" He says, "Inshallah, someone stole it." Now he learned his lesson. Let's say inshallah.
Inshallah, I'll go get another goat. Inshallah, I'll come back to the market. Inshallah, we'll say it.
But they use inshallah. It should be that we are truthful. We have done everything. We will do everything. And you'll go for the meeting. You prepare yourself ahead of time. You'll be ready for the meeting. You'll move towards the meeting. But subhanAllah, maybe, we ask Allah protection, there'll be an accident. Maybe something will happen. Your car break down. This is where inshallah comes. It's Allah's will that you were not meant to get there. But you've done your best to keep your word and to make it there. Not like, so where are you? Inshallah, I'm in McDonald's right now. Inshallah, I'll be there in 5 minutes. And then after half an hour, you're there. And, subhanAllah.
And at the end, we conclude with this, that firstly, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide the both of us, the entire Muslim Ummah,
because we are
forgive us, and to
also in need of this.
Implement into us that when we speak the truth, and also when someone puts a trust into us, that we fulfill that trust, and when we promise someone something, that we fulfill what we have promised him. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us and to implement into us these actions and all those actions which will benefit us into entering the paradise which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prepared for the true believers.
And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us for any mistakes we have done in this, and any benefit that comes. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From us, actually, we are the ones who need these.
Sincerity and acceptance.
Sincerity
and acceptance. These are most
if anything
important.
good came, this is from Allah. Anything bad, this is from our
Allah
mistakes.
guides you, sincerity and acceptance.
Oh Lord, to you I pray, bow down, prostrate. You are the only one worthy of praise. I stand before you with an attentive heart. Erase my sins from the present and past. To you I pray, bow down, prostrate. You are the only one worthy of praise. I stand before you with an attentive heart. Erase my sins from the present and past. I surrender to you. I entrust all of my affairs to you. I depend on you for your blessings too, both with hope and fear of you. There is no flee